This milk company wiped out $14 billion overnight. And the mastermind behind it was a quiet Italian grandfather. To the outside world, Callisto Tanzi was the undisputed king of global dairy, a devout philanthropist who built an empire from the quiet streets of Parma, Italy. But behind his saintly public image lay a dark reality. For over a decade, his global multinational, Parmalat, was not a highly profitable business powerhouse. It was a massive, hollow shell sustained entirely by forged documents, fake bank accounts, and a multi-billion-dollar web of lies. And the craziest part? It all happened with the quiet complicity of some of the world's largest financial institutions. Our story begins in 1961 in Parma, a region of Italy world famous for its culinary treasures like prosciutto and Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Callisto Tanzi, a 22-year-old college dropout, inherited his father's small, local cured meat and milk pasteurization business. Tanzi was quiet, pious, and intensely ambitious. He realized that the traditional milk industry was severely limited by shelf life. Milk spoiled within days, limiting distribution to local neighborhoods. But during a trip to Sweden, Tanzi discovered a revolutionary new technology, ultra-high temperature, or UHT pasteurization. By heating milk to 135 degrees Celsius for just a few seconds and packaging it in sterile carton containers, milk could suddenly last for months without refrigeration. Tanzi brought this technology back to Italy and branded his new company Parmalat. The impact was immediate and explosive. Suddenly, Italian families could stock their pantries with milk that didn't spoil. Parmalat quickly grew to dominate the Italian market. By the 1970s, it was expanding across Europe. But Tanzi did not stop at milk. He understood the power of modern marketing. To turn Parmalat into a household name, he poured millions into sports sponsorship. The Parmalat logo was plastered across Formula One racetracks, emblazoned on the helmets of legendary drivers like Niki Lauda and Nelson Piquet. He sponsored world-class ski teams, international athletic events, and eventually bought Parma AC, the local football club, transforming them from a struggling lower-tier squad into a European powerhouse. To the public, Callisto Tanzi was a visionary genius, a national hero who had taken a humble family business and turned it into a global champion. By the late 1980s, Tanzi wanted to expand his empire even further. He launched an aggressive, highly ambitious global acquisition campaign. Parmalat bought up dairies, bakery operations, and fruit juice brands across South America, North America, Africa, and Australia. They acquired travel agencies, television networks, and holiday resorts. From Brazil to Canada, Parmalat was suddenly everywhere. But beneath the shiny surface of rapid global growth, a deadly rot was setting in. This aggressive international expansion was immensely expensive, and many of the foreign acquisitions were deeply unprofitable. The core dairy business had razor-thin profit margins. In reality, Parmalat was burning through cash at an unsustainable rate. But Tanzi could not admit failure. He was too proud, and his social standing in Italy was too precious. Instead of scaling back or restructuring, Tanzi and his brilliant, fiercely loyal chief financial officer, Fausto Tana, decided to hide the losses. To keep their global expansion alive, they needed constant infusions of cash from banks. But banks would only lend money to a company that appeared highly profitable. So, Tana designed a highly complex financial magic show. He created a vast, intricate network of offshore shell companies located in tax havens like Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and the Cayman Islands. If a Parmalat subsidiary in South America lost $50 million, Tana didn't record the loss on Parmalat's main financial statements. Instead, he transferred the loss to one of these offshore shell companies. To offset these hidden debts, the shell companies created fake assets. They invented fake transactions, billing each other for non-existent milk shipments, fake advertising services, and imaginary intellectual property. But wait. It gets worse. As the years went on, the gap between Parmalat's real financial health and its public financial reports became a massive chasm. The fake invoices were no longer enough to hide the mounting billions in debt. So, Tanzi and Tana decided to commit outright forgery on a scale never before seen in corporate history. They targeted their Cayman Islands-based subsidiary, a shell company named Parmalat. Tana and his co-conspirators literally used a scanner and a copy machine to fabricate fake letterheads from major global banks. Their masterpiece was a document showing a Bank of America account in the Cayman Islands belonging to Parmalat. This fake document claimed that the account held an astounding 3.9 billion euros, nearly $5 billion in cash. This forged bank account was the crown jewel of the Parmalat illusion. Whenever financial analysts or major international credit rating agencies asked why Parmalat was continually borrowing billions of dollars when they claimed to be highly profitable, CFO Fausto Tana had an easy answer. He would point to the Parmalat bank account and say, "We have billions of euros in cash sitting safely in the Cayman Islands. We only borrow money to optimize our tax structure and keep our options open for future acquisitions." For years, this simple lie worked perfectly. Amazingly, the company's external auditors, Grant Thornton and later Deloitte, failed to properly verify the existence of this cash. Instead of mailing a confirmation letter directly to Bank of America's corporate headquarters, the auditors allowed Parmalat's own staff to handle the verification process. The staff simply forged the confirmation letters using their scanner, signed them with fake names, and mailed them back to the auditors. The auditors accepted these forged documents year after year without a single second thought. Armed with these clean audits, international investment banks eagerly helped Parmalat issue billions of dollars in new corporate bonds, selling them to unsuspecting pension funds and retail investors around the world. But by late 2003, the global financial markets were changing. In the wake of the Enron and WorldCom collapses in the United States, investors were becoming increasingly suspicious of complex corporate balance sheets. In December 2003, Parmalat faced a routine bond payment of 150 million euros. To the shock of the market, the global giant struggled to make the payment. Investors were deeply confused. How could a company with nearly 4 billion euros in cash sitting in a Cayman Islands bank account struggle to find a mere 150 million euros to pay its bondholders? The corporate facade began to crumble at lightning speed. Under intense pressure from the market and regulatory authorities, Parmalat's newly appointed management team bypasses Tana's department and contacted Bank of America directly. They demanded a formal verification of the Parmalat account. On December 19, 2003, Bank of America sent a single, devastating fax back to Italy. The account did not exist. The document claiming the existence of 3.9 billion euros was a complete and total forgery. The cash was entirely made of thin air. Instantly, the massive house of cards collapsed. The news hit the global markets like an atomic bomb. Within hours, Parmalat's stock price plummeted by over 90%, wiping out billions of dollars in shareholder value. Trading was suspended. The board of directors resigned in disgrace. On Christmas Eve, 2003, Callisto Tanzi was officially placed under investigation. Fearing imminent arrest, he fled Parma, wandering aimlessly through Europe before returning to Italy. Just days later, police intercepted Tanzi on a busy street in Milan. He was arrested and placed in handcuffs. The Italian government was forced to step in, declaring state insolvency and passing emergency legislation to save the operational dairy plants from shutting down. Over 100,000 ordinary retail investors, many of them Italian pensioners who had trusted their life savings to the seemingly safe family-friendly milk giant, lost absolutely everything. Callisto Tanzi's elaborate, multi-decade deception had finally run out of time. During the high-profile trials that followed, the true, shocking scale of the corruption was laid bare. Investigators discovered that Tanzi had not only defrauded investors to keep his failing company alive, but he had also treated Parmalat like his personal piggy bank. He had systematically funneled over 500 million euros of company money into his family's private travel agencies and other failed ventures. More bizarrely, police discovered a hidden treasure trove of priceless art. Hidden in the basements and attics of Tanzi's friends and relatives were masterpieces by Picasso, Monet, Cezanne, and Van Gogh, purchased with stolen corporate funds. Callisto Tanzi was convicted of market manipulation, fraudulent bankruptcy, and criminal association, receiving an 18-year prison sentence. His CFO, Fausto Tana, was sentenced to several years behind bars. The audit firms faced massive lawsuits and severe reputational damage. Parmalat was forced to restructure, ultimately being acquired by French dairy group Lactalis. The quiet grandfather who wanted to rule the world of dairy had instead engineered the largest corporate bankruptcy in European history, leaving behind a legacy of absolute ruin. If you thought this corporate scam was wild, you must watch our video about how Barings Bank was destroyed by a single rogue trader in Singapore.